A tax for expanding the convention center may wind up on the November ballot after all. The latest on the city council debate over the funding measure.
We're just most concerned right now with the wildfire smoke and the particulate matter. So we do encourage people to stay indoors and limit their outside activities.
18 wildfires are currently spread across hundreds of thousands of acres in California, but the impact from those fires stretches much farther.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay.
And we have your weekend calendar of fun. KPBS Evening Edition starts right now. Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Ebony Monet. San Diego voters could still see a proposal to fund a convention center expansion, homeless services, and street repairs this November. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman says this afternoon the city council is considering a ballot proposal from the mayor to send to voters. Matt?
Yeah, Ebony, we're here at City Hall downtown right now, where, as you can see, the council's convening a special session right now to look at that ballot proposal for the November election. As you can see, they're still taking public testimony here behind me. It's been a busy day. A spokesman for Mayor Kevin Faulconer says the proposal that the council is taking up is nearly identical to a citizens' initiative that failed to automatically qualify for this November's ballot. Now, that initiative, Yes for a Better San Diego, would have also raised the hotel tax to pay for a convention center expansion, homeless services, and road repairs. The city clerk said it didn't qualify because there wasn't enough time to verify all the signatures. Now Mayor Kevin Faulconer says he will not be deterred from making sure these issues appear before voters in the fall. But any special tax measure approved by the council will require 2/3 voter approval. And now some people say convention center expansion is not a priority, and instead that the city should be focused on housing.
Helping people get off of our sidewalks, out of the canyons, away from encampments, and into safe shelter and housing is what makes us America's finest city, or at least one of those things. But until we're ready to move real solutions forward, and instead of hijacking homelessness and streets and roads funding for the sake of a convention center, we'll never make real progress on this.
Now, with just a day's notice for this meeting, some people were wondering if not a lot of people were going to be showing up, but there's a lot of people in there. They've submitted public speaker slips, and also additionally, now normally ballot measures, they're required to go through council committees that has a public input process. Now, obviously, with just 24 hours notice, that didn't happen here. So before the council actually takes up this ballot proposal, they're going to be voting to waive those procedures. Live here downtown, Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Thanks, Matt. The group behind the original Citizens Initiative says it will sue the consultants it hired to gather signatures. Yes for a Better San Diego says it was the victim of fraud by Arno Petition Consultants. In a news release, the campaign says Arno fabricated signature reports for months and blames the consultants for the failure of the random sampling. KPBS has reached out to Arno Petition Consultants for comment. The phone number on their website was invalid, and they have not responded to our emails. An East County school district is taking action after criticism over an alleged bullying incident involving a Muslim student. KPBS education reporter Megan Burke says a school principal is now being transferred.
Gregory Calvert is leaving Greenfield Middle School to become an assistant principal at Chase Elementary. Both are in the Cajon Valley Union School District in San Diego's East County. Last week, the Council on American Islamic Relations called for Calvert's resignation, saying he allowed bullying to fester at Greenfield, resulting in the assault of a Muslim student and her family off campus. Both the superintendent of Cajon Valley and Calvert insist the move is not related.
I was given a great opportunity to go over to Chase Elementary School and work under a great principal there and learn from him. And I'm really excited about the opportunity. That's where I started my career, was in elementary, and to be able to go back to the elementary level is just a really great learning opportunity for me and a growth opportunity. And I'm really excited about the improvement in my work-life balance. It's going to be really great. It's really refreshing, and spend more time with my family.
Calvert is also finishing his doctorate. Earlier this year, Greenfield teachers went to the school board to complain about the climate on campus. Neither the superintendent nor Calvert commented on those complaints. Megan Burks, KPBS News.
A new fire broke out near the San Diego Zoo Safari Park today. Cal Fire says the Rangeland fire has burned between 100 and 150 acres. Some homes were threatened. At one point, and a stretch of Highway 78 had to be shut down. This is the second fire in that area in 2 weeks. The man accused of setting a huge fire in Orange County refused to go to court today. The Holy Fire has burned close to 10,000 acres on the border of Orange and Riverside counties, and it's still burning. At least 20,000 people have been driven from their homes, and a dozen cabins have been burned so far. 51-year-old Forrest Clark is accused of setting the fire. He was supposed to be arraigned today, but refused to leave his cell. The extreme heat and raging wildfires have been tough on California kids. Here in San Diego, many children have been relegated to the indoors. The same is true for kids near Sacramento, where they need protection not only from the heat, but the haze. There are no laughing children whisking down slides on the playground at the Sacramento YMCA.
The wildfires and the air quality and lack of good air quality has impacted our camp.
The region's most significant active wildfire is more than 100 miles away. The Mendocino Complex fire started July 27th. It now spreads across 3 north central counties. Its haze stretches nearly 300 miles.
So we have to keep the kids inside more. A lot of the outdoor physical activities we've had to curtail and cut back on.
So the YMCA staff has had to get creative. For Sean Nolasco, that means more time to work on his jump shot.
A very good idea to have us stay indoors because sometimes the pollution can make us sick and stuff.
Officials with the Sacramento Metropolitan Air Quality Management District say the 11-year-old is right. The haze is especially dangerous for kids and seniors.
We're just most concerned right now with the wildfire smoke and the particulate matter. So we do encourage people to stay indoors and limit their outside activities.
Smoky air from blowing winds is nothing new in many California cities, but Sacramento air quality experts say it's rare for the dirty air to linger for so long.
The Mendocino Complex fires right now are so huge. They're burning over 300,000 acres, and they are contributing the majority of the smoke right now. However, we are still seeing impacts from the Carr fire, which is burning up near Redding, the Ferguson fire, which is burning in the Yosemite Valley area.
In response, YMCA staffers have had to reinvent their day camp, omitting the outdoors.
Which is hard during summer because it's all about being outdoors and using the outdoors to have fun and to play. So we've had to incorporate a lot more indoor activities and developing our program.
And for now, this is the new normal. Fire officials predict it will take at least until September 1st to extinguish what is now the largest fire in state history. Some of the firefighters battling the ongoing wildfires in the state are from halfway around the world.
Yeah, so there's about 40 New Zealanders and about another 120 Australians here. And so we got a request for help from your federal agencies. And so, yeah, we've come out here to A, assist as much as we can, but B, to learn a bit from, the scale of what you do here is amazing.
The overseas fire helpers have been assigned as safety officers, line supervisors, and heavy equipment bosses at the Mendocino Complex fire north of San Francisco. It's just one of 18 fires burning throughout the state. This relentless heat puts seniors and low-income residents at risk. KPBS health reporter Susan Murphy caught up with some people in El Cajon today, where temperatures reached triple digits before noon.
Temperatures in El Cajon in 30 of the last 40 days have been 90 degrees or hotter. 10 of those days have reached or exceeded triple digits.
This temperature is too high. It's too high.
Nidal Al-Hassan was one of a dozen seniors who lined up an hour early to get into a designated cool zone in El Cajon. He spends a few hours every day at the Salvation Army facility, so he doesn't have to spend money running his fans at home.
My age, 70 years old, is difficult for me. But I cannot use the electricity more.
67-year-old Donald Collins was also waiting in line on the shaded sidewalk. He's homeless and sleeps in a nearby park. He's also sunburned. He says it's been a rough summer.
I have to handle it because I'm out in the weather.
When the doors opened, the senior streamed into the air-conditioned hall. It's a luxury most don't have at home. 79-year-old Benjamin Nunez has lived in El Cajon for 2 decades. He's noticed heat waves have gotten longer and hotter.
It takes a lot more effort to do the same thing as one does that's younger, so you get worn out quite faster.
The seniors know their reprieve from the scorching heat is just temporary. The facility closes after lunch. For Donald Collins, who has lived on the streets for 4 years, he has his routine down.
I walk back to the library, which is about 3 to 4 miles from here.
Susan Murphy, KPBS News.
It's been 2 years since California passed a law to evaluate its medical interpretation services for Medi-Cal patients. And KPBS reporter Taryn Minto says the state is still searching for a vendor to carry out the study.
A spokesman for the Department of Healthcare Services says it requested proposals from possible vendors back in April, but received none. It reissued the request this week after seeking public input on the future direction of the study. Don Shinsky is with the California Healthcare Interpreting Association. He says the study is necessary because medical interpretation is required by federal law, but the state doesn't have a standardized process to meet it.
Without any kind of existing state standard overall as to how this should be done, how it should be paid for, what quality level we should interpret to. Health systems and facilities have been kind of left to their own devices.
Research shows patients who need but don't receive proper medical interpretation may experience higher rates of hospitalization. Taryn Mento, KPBS News.
A new study could overturn conventional wisdom that inducing labor increases the risk for a C-section. AP reporter Kathy Young has the story.
When delivering that new bundle of joy, a new study says low-risk first-time moms were less likely to need a C-section if labor was induced at 39 weeks instead of waiting for it to start on its own. Study leader Dr. William Grobman, an OBGYN specialist at Northwestern University, says that's opposite of what's long been thought.
For many years, we've had an understanding about induction of labor that was, I think, essentially incorrect and based on studies that had not been properly done.
Results of this federally funded study were published Wednesday by the New England Journal of Medicine. This could give expectant families more choices on their birth plan, including a better ability to set the timing without fear of health problems for the mother or baby. During the study, more than 6,100 women were randomly assigned to have labor induced at 39 weeks or to wait for labor to start on its own. 39 weeks is considered full term, and research suggests that's the lowest time for complication.
Looking at women who deliver at 39 and 40 and 41 weeks, that demonstrates that as every week goes by, the chance of both maternal and perinatal complications increases.
Results from the study show fewer mothers in the induced group needed C-sections or developed dangerous high blood pressure at the end of pregnancy, a condition known as preeclampsia. They also stayed in the hospital for a shorter amount of time.
In addition, there was no evidence that their babies had an increased chance of any problem whatsoever.
Some groups are looking at the study closely, but not recommending new mothers base their decision on the study results.
We're not advocating that all women should have this simply because of the study results at this time. There's a lot of other things that have to be considered when someone has an induction, and it needs to meet that person's individual desires and needs in order to be the right decision for them.
Some medical professionals, like Dr. Cynthia Jamfrey-Bennerman, who was part of the study but didn't have patients in it, says the results open up more choices for some mothers.
I think that women can have a conversation with their obstetricians about what is the next step. Should I be delivered now? Can I wait? And now we have actual data to show that both options are reasonable for the baby and that earlier delivery might be something that the mom is interested in.
It is unclear which options cost more, but researchers plan to look into it. The results do give some mothers more reassurance about their decision to induce or not, as they prepare for a very special delivery. Kathy Young, Associated Press.
I'm William Brangham. Tonight on the NewsHour, California continues to burn as fire crews work around the clock and residents seek shelter following evacuation orders. Coming up at 7, right after Evening Edition on KPBS.
Another day of record temperatures in the waters off San Diego. The Scripps Institution of Oceanography says the sea surface at Scripps Pier was 79.5 degrees today. The Twitter announcement also included a photo of a gathering of bat rays off the pier. Scripps has been reporting record water temps for about a week, and it feels like near record air temperatures too. Another hot one here in San Diego. Here's your full forecast.
It's been all about the heat over the course of the past couple of days. It's not through just yet, but it will tend to back off some as we go throughout the period. Looks like we're going to be talking about the onshore flow more as we head into early week. Choppy surf, another concern here over the course of the next couple of days. Some changes possibly as we venture toward the weekend. Still talking about excessive heat warnings through this evening. And again, these going all the way out toward the 5. La Jolla out toward Oceanside. Numbers today well into the 90s for most locations. The immediate shoreline talking about the upper 80s to near 90. It's a widespread swath of excessive heat warnings that we have in effect here over the Golden State. Again, we woke up to some smoky conditions due to the Holy Fire. Still talking about that containment on the low side, and even at this late hour. Satellite radar also showing a couple of sneaky showers coming in toward the mountainous terrain. Those chances are going to go away as we venture toward the weekend. For tonight, talking about 60s out toward Oceanside. Again, Chula Vista at 73, Borrego Springs 81, Mount Laguna bottoming out at 64, and more so toward the metro into the 70s with some low clouds pushing back in. Very similar look and feel to our Friday. Again, the excessive heat is going to be more so found over the valley locations, points off to the east. Smoky conditions continuing as well, but not quite as hot as it has been. That added concern, like I mentioned here, the rough seas, the dangerous swells, and also the rip currents causing some minor coastal flooding, especially as we work our way further to the north and to the east at times of high tide. Venturing in toward tomorrow afternoon, talking about numbers back into the upper 80s. San Diego, slight chance for a shower or a thunderstorm. Again, that's the case over the valley locations on eastbound toward the mountainous terrain as well. All right, let's talk about the weekend here, and we'll go through, again, the regions as we're going to be talking about some more heat toward the coast. Not quite as hot, though, Sunday into Monday. Lots of sunshine expected toward inland locations. We're also coming down with the temperatures a bit throughout the mountains. A couple of storms the next couple of days. Heat begins to build back as we venture into next week, and throughout the deserts, looking at the best chance of storms on Friday. For KPBS News, I'm meteorologist Justin Povick. Back to you, Ebony.
An update tonight, the San Diego City Council is saying no to putting the hotel tax measure onto the November ballot. KPBS reporter Matt Hoffman joins us from City Hall. Matt?
Yeah, Ebony, they actually didn't even get to vote to actually put it on the ballot because, like I said before, in my first hit, they were hung up on sub-item A, waiving those regulations instead. Like ballot measures, they normally have to go through council subcommittees and go through a public process here. But 4 of the council members thought that there wasn't enough of that public process. So 4 voted for, 4 voted against, just on waiving the regulation or waiving those policies. So the policies were not waived, and the council meeting just ended. We had no idea how long it was going to go today. It could have gone really long, could have gone really short, but a lot of people did come out to speak. There was a good number of public speakers, but as of right now on this November ballot, there will be no initiative voting on for this hotel tax authorizing a convention center expansion and road repairs and money for homeless services. And so we're here live downtown in City Hall. Matt Hoffman, KPBS News.
Thanks, Matt, for that update. It's all about the outdoors this weekend with a classic movie screening and a family-friendly art show, plus a visit by 2 alternative music icons. Here with more is KPBS Arts Calendar editor Nina Guerin.
One of the greatest movie musicals comes to life this weekend at Bayside Summer Nights.
I feel pretty, oh so pretty. I feel pretty and witty and gay.
Watch a remastered version of West Side Story, projected on a giant screen as the San Diego Symphony performs Leonard Bernstein's iconic score live. The 1961 film, based on Romeo and Juliet, won 10 Academy Awards and features choreography by Jerome Robbins. Bring a picnic and sing along to memorable songs like I Feel Pretty and America. Back in the 1980s or 1990s, a concert with the bands Weezer and the Pixies playing together would have been a dream. This weekend, that concert is a reality. The Pixies is a seminal alternative band, creating a songwriting style that was jangly and fragmented. The Pixies influenced hundreds of bands, most notably Nirvana, R.E.M., and fellow tour mates Weezer. Weezer was an alternative powerhouse in the 1990s thanks to hits like Buddy Holly and Undone, the Sweater Song. Lately, the band has been focusing on covers, like Toto's Africa, which you probably hear on the radio all the time. Finally, experience art from Southern California and Mexico at the family-friendly Art Walk at Liberty Station. Held at the Ingram Plaza Rose Garden, you'll be able to see everything from painting and sculpture to glasswork and jewelry. The event also features live music stages, an interactive art area for kids, street food, and a wine and beer pavilion. For KPBS Arts, I'm Nina Guerin.
90s fashion is back in a big way, and one museum is taking a look at one of its top designers who dominated the runways, dressing models from Tyra Banks to Cindy Crawford.
So Todd Oldham is a great creative thinker. So during the 90s, he had a 10-year span where he did amazing fashions. You know, this was the moment of grunge and really simple things, and he just went the complete other direction and made things as beautifully detailed and extravagant as you can imagine. There's hours of runway footage scrolling here in the first gallery, and if you watch it, you'll see a lot of the works. A lot of the garments show up in these videos.
The exhibition here consists of clothing that was made from about 1990 to 99, somewhere around that time frame. And since historical versions of it, just putting the way we showed it on the runway, are already out there, I thought it would be more interesting if we sort of recombined it and made new ensembles that sort of created new narratives. It was fun to sort of throw almost 10 years out on the ground and pick it back up in a new way.
He actually went back through his archive because he'd kept everything. He didn't have sample sales. So he kept everything and he mixed and matched. And so the ensembles you'll see here might have a skirt from 1992 mixed with a top from 1995 with some shoes from 1990. Well, one dress that is actually really fun and a little more out there than some of the other dresses, there's a dress in the last gallery called the Love Ball dress, and it's actually crafted of pipe cleaners. Todd and his team designed it for the first Love Ball, which was an AIDS research fundraiser in New York City, and the whole dress is pipe cleaners. It's a little skimpy, but it's a really fun dress. I mean, you can imagine someone going to a party with it and having a really good time.
I would get you noticed, that's for sure, and probably expose some part of your body that you were used to showing.
I really love the ensemble right when you walk into the third gallery. He calls it the bracelet dress, and it's just this incredibly embellished, very short, beautiful dress, and then he's paired it with what he called his moving blanket jacket, and it's this peach quilted jacket. It's huge, and it kind of wraps the mannequin up, and it's this pairing of, you know, fairly simple texture, one color mixed with all of this color and shine and baubles, and it's just a beautiful pairing that I think encapsulates a lot of the show. So the Rhode Island School of Design, it's a fabulous design school in Providence, Rhode Island, and that is where this exhibition originated, at their museum.
I was speaking all about that most of this is from this 10-year period, but there is one anomaly. There's a new dress that we executed last year that was made by over 60 people.
In the process of leading up to this exhibition, he started working with a class of students at RISD.
It took us almost an entire year to make. Over 40 artists made the fabric through silkscreen, and then dozens of people embroidered and stripped the fabric and knitted it. That was truly a labor of love and an extravagance of being present while you're making, because we knew it would never be worn by a human. It would only be on display in a museum, but it was a great effort and really, really fun to do.
So Todd did not just stop at the fashions. Todd did everything. There's accessories, there's shoes, there's earrings, jewelry, necklaces, bracelets. You know, everything that these models wore was designed, touched by Todd. So here in the first gallery, we have a couple of cases just showing the wide array of things he did. One of the highlights of that is what we call the button case. Todd's factory handmade buttons for everything. We guesstimated about 2,000 buttons in the case, but that's not even a fraction of what they made. So they literally made everything for these outfits.
I never asked permission, I just sort of did stuff. So when my grandmother taught me to sew at 9, I just loved it, so I just kept making, and then I started making dresses for my sister. And
you can really get a sense of the breadth of what he did in the exhibition. It really showcases just such an amazing level of work that went into these beautiful garments, and I hope when people come they take a moment to really look at them, because they're just amazing to go up close and really appreciate how much handwork went into each of them. They're amazing.
Have a great night.